Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
I always wanted my name up in lights. Didn't know it'd be
Good
on
shit.
a 1970s graphic of illegal hits that we should never see in the NFL again. Welcome to a football show. I think we drafted a team in fantasy, and then we said, you know what we should do? We should talk about football on a show.
Yeah.
This is how it was born. We've got Nazario, a 49ers fan, Mark Menchaca that doesn't have I don't think he's from Texas but doesn't have a team, and then the nerd
For the better, yeah. That's
the nerd Thomas Scully that is so precise on most things but doesn't realize how bad the Bears truly are and will have hope until it comes crashing down. We're going to have fun. We're just going to talk football. There's an angry Minnesotan that didn't get invited to this, but he also doesn't know football. He also believes the Jacksonville Jaguars will go 16-1 this season. So clearly did not pass the IQ test for this show. Nazario,
Yeah.
how are you doing? And how do you think the Niners will do this season?
I am ecstatic today because I just found out we finally paid Nick Bosa. So people actually asked Shanahan today, like, hey, will he play in week 1? The guy said, unless he has a beer belly and is completely out of shape, that man is playing on Sunday. So I'm happy about that. 34 million a year, I don't know. But,
well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, they paid that to some receivers, so probably. And yeah, I'm excited about this season. It's gonna be kind of a shit show. We are betting the farm on Mr. Irrelevant, who has been good, but is coming of a serious injury, and we also have Sam Darnold. So I don't know.
Mark, a lover of football, Texas Tech fan through and through. That Wyoming loss hurt really bad. But how do you think the season's going to go? You don't have a team to root for, but overall, how's the season going to go for you?
All right. Just got to clear this up, bro. I don't like Tech. Not Tech fan. You know, Cody just likes to just jab. He's like. Is
it the other one?
No, I'm an Aggie. All right, Texas. I know Texas, but you're just like the guy in the hockey team, just trying to jab people, to fucking
Not
hockey.
Texas A&M though.
Yeah. He's an Aggie.
Okay.
$5 million that goes nowhere.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, I like talking about football. Football's fun. I just like, just sitting here, watch football. A lot of that's because of fantasy, but, who gives a shit? And, I like watch people get hit. And, we'll talk about people getting hit here, too. Name of the show.
Yes. I wonder if anybody that got notifications on the video store just saw Hit Stick go up and be like, what the fuck's happening on the video store? They're back to 2020 days. Scully, your headline is a joke in itself. 20-1. If you want to bet that, enjoy it. Mr. 58-minute man had the first pick overall, traded it for DJ Moore and a bunch of other picks, and then got a lineman and let the Eagles get Jalen Carter. Some think that's a really stupid decision, me included. But how do you think this season's going to go for you? And are you guys going to beat the Packers week 1, or is Jordan Love going to stand in that end zone at the end of the game and go, I own you. I still own you.
Look, I'll be honest. If we go 0-2 against Jordan Love this season, I might put my head into a blender. Completely honest. that is one Aggie I don't want to lose to. But overall, I am very bullish on this season, very optimistic. I think that Ryan Poles, what he's done in revitalizing the roster from what we had 2 years ago, is frankly insane. I mean, he took a bunch of old, rundown defenders, turned them into picks, which then turned into a revamped secondary. We used the money to buy like a whole new linebacking core. And am I sad that we don't have Jalen Carter? Sure. But also, I don't think he was culture-wise. I don't think the Bears, a rebuilding team, are the best fit for someone with his past.
The Bears care about culture? Since when? Since when?
Since 1920. Well, whatever. Look,
Yeah.
I would much rather have a sturdy offensive line, to be completely honest with you, so that way Justin Fields doesn't have to run 98% of the game.
He's still going to run.
Oh, he's still going to run, just not 98% of the game. But I am
Those other
finally
2
happy
minutes,
that we
though.
have a quarterback that doesn't make me want to stick my hand down the disposal and turn it on. So I am very excited about this season. I think I'm gonna be very happy at the end of the season. But if not, you might never see me again. So
Yeah.
We'll still see you. You're a sucker. I just thought of another option. I'm going to give everybody enough time. This will be right before we do the picks. But a bold prediction for this season. Something that you think could happen in the NFL. It can be completely outlandish. Feel like the Chicago Bears winning the Super Bowl. That would be very bold. Think about it. If you don't have one, you suck and you're an idiot, but it's fine. I won't make fun of you. But news, first we're going to start about the news. Basically, all 4 of us are going to gather together, hopefully every week. Me and Nazario most likely will be here every week unless somebody else, if they drop out. But basically, we're going to go through stuff upcoming. This week we'll talk like recaps in the next week, like what happened, fun stuff that happened, stupid things that happened. And then every week we're making 3 picks. Nobody else knows our picks before we go live on this, and they're going to be like in a draft style. So we're going to pick games, and then we're going to keep a leaderboard. This is the video store where most likely the winner's probably going to punish the loser with like a movie. But I thought of a really good option, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like maybe we make them live stream or like go and like have to watch like highlights of a team that they hate or like a miserable game. Like they have to sit there and just like watch the game again. Like that would be interesting. We'll talk about it though. Like he has to watch Packers highlights for like an hour. Scully
it's just the 2013 Randall Cobb touchdown on loop for like an hour. I know.
Yeah, until he puts his head into a blender. So yeah, some news. I think the few Red Gate here to cover it. Bosa gets paid. I don't know how everybody else feels. I think that's well worth it. I've also been a big stand that the NFL money doesn't mean anything. Basically, like remember Devontae Adams got like $71 million, but it's like 2 years down the line, and it's like in a it's if you can restructure it, you can like give it to him in a signing bonus. It means absolutely nothing. NFL money is fake. $34 million for a 25-year-old pass rusher that scares everybody. That's a no-brainer, and it just made Chris Jones a lot harder to sign in Kansas City. Like with that news, I don't believe they're comparable. I don't think they're equal, but like overall, and Chris Jones, as of we know right now, will not be there tomorrow for Kansas City, Detroit. And we don't know. Big news: Travis Kelce may not also. So I think that's interesting. Everybody's big on the Lions. I think it's the Lions or the Vikings to win that division this year. Before we get into too much news, how does everybody sit on that game? I'm still thinking Kansas City's Kansas City. I don't really care. Like, the next man up, Mahomes will find somebody. Mahomes will just hit somebody in the chest to catch a pass. I don't think it matters who. It just may not be by as much as they believe it does, because I think the line is now down to 4.5, which I think it was started at 6.5. So the line of the game has moved because of Kelsey's injury. But even if he can hobble out there for 60% of snaps, I think they still take Detroit. I don't trust Jared Goff in Arrowhead. Anybody else? Thoughts?
When did we decide that the Lions weren't the Lions? I mean, they will always disappoint. So yeah, they ended up the season hot, taking out the Packers. Everybody seems very happy about that. But the Lions gonna lion, and even if they make it close, they're not winning Sunday.
Well, I
Also,
think
if this is one of your guys' picks later, don't give a hint of who you're taking. You're believing in one of these.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think. Well, the beauty of what Andy Reid's built in Kansas City is that everyone in that offense gets their chance to succeed. Even if Kelsey's not out there, I have no doubt that whoever they roll out at tight end is going to get at least 80 yards receiving. Because the way that offense is set up, it gives Mahomes opportune time to survey the field and to deliver the ball where it needs to go. He's the best quarterback in the league for that reason alone. His field vision is insane. So I don't really think it matters who is rolled out there. Even if they roll Kelsey out there as a decoy, I think they're still going to put up 25, 30 points in the game. I think that Detroit's offense, Ben Johnson is one of the best coordinators, I think, in the game. I think their offense is going to be really, really good this season, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs, who I am very, very high on, not just in fantasy, but as an all-around player. Yeah,
You definitely know how big you are.
I know you know.
$50.
But again, it comes down to the defenses. I don't have much faith in Detroit's defense to be able to stop Mahomes.
Didn't half of them get suspended for gambling?
I wouldn't. It was only a couple guys, but who knows if Jameson Williams will ever even see a snap in Detroit ever again?
Because he battled the Lions games. What a moron! Mark, how are you feeling on this game? Kansas City Lions.
It kind of reminds me of last year when we were all kind of contemplating, who's going to be the new number one wide receiver in Kansas City, and everybody thought maybe it's MVS, maybe it's Juju, and it turns out it was none of them. Nobody's a wide receiver, because it doesn't matter who's there. I mean, in Kansas City, Jerick McKinnon is a weapon, so it doesn't matter at all. There just needs to be a warm body there. If honestly, we could probably show up to the field, and one of us can get 50 yards in the Chiefs' offense. It doesn't take a whole lot. They can scheme something up for me.
Fly up and down. I need you to fly to Kansas City and suit up. No, I think all the places talked about it last year. Tyreek Hill left town. Everybody's like, Kansas City's now done. They're going to take a step back. People picked before the Wilson experiment started. Everybody was like, maybe it's Herbert's time. Maybe it's Broncos are now going to take over the field. And they literally just won the Super Bowl. That's what Coho was like. Kelsey's not going to be there. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars upset him. It's still Kansas City. They are still one of the most powerful offenses. And again, I feel against a weaker defensively, I think he's still going to carve people up. They've been prepping for it, and they've probably prepped for if Kelsey doesn't. If anybody's got an injury, somebody has to step up. Whoever that second tight end is on the team, I don't know his name. He will fill somewhat of the role. He will not do a Travis Kelce, but I trust it in the red zone. If hit him, he'll probably be open. There's a shot. I don't see that one. So that's one of the interesting news.
I'm just gonna say I'm still shocked at the amount of unsubstantiated faith that Coho has in the Jaguars.
They have a weak schedule, is what he is saying, and they do. But they play 4 games against the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the 49ers. Those 4 games you cannot lock in, and he only thinks they're going to lose to the Bengals. That's the only game they think they're going to lose.
I will say this.
Ludicrous.
I will say this. Coho does look good in teal. So that could have played a role.
Ooh,
He's trying to
figure out a new team in case he
Yes.
jumps.
So when Kirk leaves next year,
Yeah.
when Kirk Cochains departs for Washington again or whatever, he'll have to relocate his camp somewhere else.
I think other news.
Like that, but
Burrow plays. Burrow's going to play week 1. He is now there. Cooper Kupp, shocker to everybody, is not playing week 1. Honestly, even if he could play, I would not hobble myself onto that field for that team right now. That is a shot. Since the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks are going to have a lot of fun in that division this year, beating both those teams twice. They should demolish both of them. And, clearly Matthew Stafford, I think, maybe plays 6 games, maybe, if that's lucky. So I think that's really interesting overall. Any other news that we want to touch on that I missed in the upcoming headlines of? Aaron Rodgers has now been redeemed by Hard Knocks. He is now not a crazy person. He was crazy in Green Bay. Now Hard Knocks has painted him as the savior of the Jets. Are the Jets still going to jet? That's going to be the interesting thing. And I think the NFL hates them because they literally gave Buffalo week 1. And I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know who wins that game, but it'll be interesting. Any other news that you guys want to cover before we move on to some stuff?
I mean, did kind of want to bring up what you kind of like, at least bringing up about the Rams, which
fall from grace, man.
I mean, like kind of like
they put it all in the house.
How much is Cooper Kupp going to play this season? At this point,
hardly any.
Like it doesn't feel like we're at a good place with that, at least right now.
He used it all that season. Like at the end of he put everything he had to do the Triple Crown, and his body just told him no. Like everybody, Father Time is undefeated, and when you put that much effort out there, it's just not going to go.
It feels like karmic. It feels like karmic retribution of sorts because they did what was very rare in the playoffs in like this era of football. They stopped another all-time Brady comeback because that one pass from Stafford to Kupp derailed what would have arguably been even a greater comeback than 28-3, and they won that game at the death. And then they won the Super Bowl, and it feels like they just gave their soul to some witch doctor to have all that go their way. And now, 18 months later, they're staring down the barrel of another double-digit loss season.
I just think it all comes to the fact that there is a NFL giveth and the NFL taketh away. You got a Super Bowl, now you're going to be punished. You did everything you can to win that Super Bowl, so now you don't. Some teams get to go and build it and continue this dynasty. They built it with a lot of old parts.
It was like Philly in 52. They built a really solid team. They destroyed a Bill Belichick defense in the biggest game of the year, and then they spent the next 3 seasons in purgatory.
That Super Bowl is still
it's like, and the price, man, like Stafford, Cobb, even Odell, that was from the Super Bowl for a few minutes. There hasn't played since.
Well, so an interesting fact I learned a couple of days ago, they actually own their first-round pick next season. They actually own their own first-round pick next season. So we'll see if they actually hold on to this one or if they, ship it off for some last-ditch effort to make the wild card if they're somehow 500 by the trade.
Who, the Rams?
Yeah.
If they can trade that one first rounder for an entire offensive line, that would be a really good shot. If not, Cam Akers is going to die on the field this year.
I thought that
could be my bold prediction.
I honestly thought he was dead.
No one's taking
he was just dead on the field.
But no one's going to take the number 1 pick away from the Cardinals, though. Like that team is just like.
Have you ever seen like a past week 1 in college football? Anybody ever see like a top-rate program face a school that barely got off the bus, and when the ball is snapped, 6 people are behind the line of scrimmage, and they are like, the quarterback doesn't know what to do, the running back's falling down, and like the coach is crying? That's gonna be the Rams all season. Like Matthew Stafford is gonna have to chuck and hope. Interesting news. Go ahead.
Have you seen the high school fake college team documentary with the BS High?
Oh, that thing is crazy.
That's gonna be the Arizona Cardinals. Like that game, like they are BS.
We tricked people into thinking we were an NFL team for 17 weeks.
Barstool does a show called Pick Central every morning, and they interviewed the head coach from there. And one of the guys on there goes, "I don't believe you should ever run a school. I don't believe you should be around children. You are a scumbag." Like, hit him hard. That is still one of the craziest. They didn't have their own trainers. Like, they just
They didn't have a school.
true.
It's
You
such a
think
combination of ESPN that they aired that game live on their main channel
And
to
those
millions of
kids
people.
died.
without even so much looking into if this was actually a legitimate school.
The guy had to get fired. That'll prove that. Other news. Caleb Williams, arguably number one quarterback out of the upcoming draft, says that he is going to keep an eye on the overall who is the first overall pick, and if not, he's going to go back to school. That's a bold strategy. I like the idea because he's like, if Arizona wins it, I'm not coming. I'm just not.
He
Which
saw
I think
Jonathan
I think
Gannon's,
it's just
opening meeting with the players and was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to play for that guy."
yeah, like do the Eli, like I will do the John Allen. I'm not playing in Indianapolis. Like I'm just not doing it. Like I will not play there.
Well, here's my thing, and this I think can fall under the hot takes thing that we're doing. I think Arizona eventually does end up with a pick, but I think there's a possibility that you see a team like Tennessee or Washington end up getting that first overall pick. Because if you look at Washington, it kind of feels like this whole offseason has been the let's just lump all the blame on Ron Rivera, make Ron Rivera look as incompetent as possible, so that in 6 weeks, when we're 1-5 and we fire him and put Bieniemy in as head coach, we can just tank. We can just tank the whole season, and then they get the number one pick, and they get to put Caleb Williams in there with all those offensive weapons week 1 and go win the East in 2024. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Washington ends up with the first overall pick.
I believe the defense of Washington is still better than everybody on the Cardinals. Like I don't. They play week 1. We'll get a real indication, but I'm telling you right now, I think that who's now the starting quarterback for the Cardinals?
Josh Dobbs.
He has to be the most pissed off individual that has ever walked the earth. He was going to be a backup. He was going to enjoy his life. And then he's like, oh, I got traded. Okay, so I'll back up behind this person. No. We're going to cut that guy. You're starting. Now he's like, I have to stand behind that offensive line with nobody receivers, and I have to play 16 games.
Well,
he's taking an injury third quarter of this game.
Think about how many other times
17.
we've gotten to a season where we're so convinced that this team is going to end up with the first overall pick.
Oh, I agree.
Think about how the Jets in 2020, everyone thought they were going to get the first pick. They were going to get Trevor Lawrence. And then all of a sudden, they win like 2-3 games in a row towards the end of the season. And Jacksonville starts.
Yeah. They had a moron as a head coach. Like, nobody could have guessed that. Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, crazier things have happened. I'm not saying, look, heavy on. Look, I still think the Cardinals eventually do end up with the first overall pick, but don't be surprised if it's Washington or if it's Tennessee.
They could easily
head coach and tanks.
They could easily hold the 1 and 2 next season.
Oh, I agree.
Okay, so we're gonna go into MVP. I guess I haven't decided who's going to. I will start with my first. The MVP of this season is going to be Jalen Hurts. I think Hurts takes it this year. I think he was on pace last year to win it. I think without an injury, I think he wins it again. The NFC is just not the AFC. The NFC is a lot easier road for a lot of quarterbacks versus if you're not playing the 49ers, they'll play the Cowboys, but again, the Cowboys are still the Cowboys. They'll shrink in big moments. So I think Jalen Hurts is my MVP. I think he has. I don't think he again. I could have gone with the obvious ones, and I still think Hurts is pretty much of an obvious one. But I think with the season and if he stays healthy, it's his to win this year for me. We'll go Mark.
Okay. Now,
Johnny
I'm
Manziel.
gonna poke. I know we've been poking a lot of fun at Coho's expense.
Oh my god! I was
But,
thinking that too. To be fair,
but
Okay,
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
I like it.
Would we be super especially given how the Jaguars ended their season last year? Would we be super shocked that they, just
Not
had
where I
like a
thought you were
crazy good season? Especially since they are in the garbage can division that is the AFC South.
Yeah.
Like they played 6 games against terrible teams. And honestly, looking at their schedule, they honestly have like weird advantages over most of the good teams they play. They play they play the Bills in their second week of Europe. I don't even think they're gonna fucking leave Europe for 2 fucking weeks. They're just gonna stay there. They play the Niners at home after their bye. They played the Bengals at home. I'm not saying they, probably win most of these games, but they have better shots to win most of the games. I'm not surprised they go 14 wins. And especially with all of this shit that, has been crowded with Lawrence, he now has just a bunch of weapons, especially with guys that we didn't think would be weapons, like Christian Kirk, who is still going to be a thing in that offense. And Calvin Ridley probably still has something. Just don't, pull off his crazy fucking parlays. He'll be fine this season.
$15 15 leg parlays. What a psychopath!
I'm just saying. I see a world where the Jaguars legit contend for this number 1 seed in the AFC, even as stacked it is. And I think Trevor Lawrence is the beneficiary of that. I think it's a bit of a long shot, but I'm going to go with a long shot. I think Trevor Lawrence has an MVP season this year.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts. We'll go Nazario. Who you got?
it's hilarious because I was this close to saying Trevor Lawrence, and
I
You know
thought he
what?
was going to go Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. I thought it was either Cousins or JJ.
Primetime Kirk.
I'm gonna give some props to my boy Josh Allen in the Bills. The Bills have been knocking that ceiling for a couple of years now, and somehow they managed to lose games where they shouldn't be losing in the playoffs. But I got a feeling that lessons have been learned, and this year it's the year that the Bills probably do that extra step that they need to reach the high ground. They have a better running game this year than not only depending on their quarterback, and I mean they still depend on him because I'm naming him MVP. But I think Josh Allen, even if he doesn't win it all, he will do a lot and earn the MVP this year.
Okay, I like that. Scully, you kind of gave away already. You kind of hinted at it. So, do you want me to say it or you got it?
Oh, no, I got it. So
Okay.
I think what this guy has gone through last couple years, he definitely has a chip on his shoulder going into 2023. He has had a lot of success. However, if you look at his records and what he's done in these big time games, he's been less than stellar in the late game scenarios. His defense got him to the promised land in his second year in the AFC Championship game, and he missed a huge opportunity last year to clinch another Super Bowl appearance. I think Joe Burrow, this is his year to win MVP. I think that with now everything seems to have come together. Everyone chose to stick around this year. T. Higgins stuck around after all the talk early in the offseason about maybe he wants to go somewhere and be a number 1 guy if he doesn't get an extension. Lou Anarumo, defensive coordinator, decided to stay and not go and get on the sinking ship that is the Arizona Cardinals. Everyone has returned. True. everyone has come back. The offensive line, they signed Orlando Brown in the offseason. One of the lesser talked about moves. They fortified the side of that line. And I think even with his cap issues, I think he'll be fine. But he's going to have a lot of marquee moments because when you're playing in the AFC North, it's never a guarantee winning that day or night. Last year, he threw 4 picks against the Steelers in the first game of the season. It's one of the toughest divisions in football to succeed in. Between that and if Lamar stays healthy, they're going to have a horse race just to win that division. They're going to be probably the most battle-tested team going into the playoffs. And he's beaten Josh Allen. He's beaten Mahomes. And if he goes up against Trevor Lawrence, I think he'll have success against that Jags defense as well. So I think overall, Burrow, I think this is his year to win MVP. He's going to have a lot of marquee moments to shine throughout the season. And I think ultimately it's going to take him all the way this year.
I don't think any of us said any outlandish choices. I think that is all fair. I think I don't think of another one that jumps to mind as maybe you said John. I mean, all 4 of us didn't say Patrick Mahomes. So if we're wrong, I also believe the man is still lurking out there. Rodgers exists, and Rodgers with weapons. He did it without weapons for a long time. So I'm not saying he's a guaranteed lock. I'm just saying it would not be surprising. The thing he did last season was remember, we're dead, and they were a win away from getting back into the playoffs. So it's a possibility that he's just sitting at the end of the season laughing at people because of how.
If you put 2020 Rodgers on this current Jets team, he probably has the greatest regular season of all time.
Yeah. He did it he took Lazard and Watson, which are okay receivers, but overall, and it focused on a running game and still was a great quarterback.
Not to mention, Lazard was hurt for much of the year, and both Dobbs and Watson were rookies.
And let's be real, Garrett Wilson was the offensive rookie of the year with 1,400 yards receiving with Mike White and Zach Wilson as his quarterbacks. Statistically, the worst quarterbacks of all time. Hot take, Justin Fields. No, Justin Fields is going to probably hurt himself by running, and he doesn't have a big enough backpack to carry that shitload team on his back. I watched that team live.
DJ Moore will help him carry that backpack.
I have just one question for you guys.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers does the Jets season thing. Will he be playing for the Vikings next year, though?
No, he'll play. He plays. I think he signed 2 years. I think he's there for 2 years.
I really hope it happens because it'll be the funniest fucking thing ever to see Caleb
yes.
to root for Aaron Rodgers. I really want that to happen.
Yeah,
also,
he also did that against
I'll say it's a 70-30 chance he also sends a dick pic to a woman. But
Hey, okay, moving on.
We're there. Reminder, I said it in the chat, but not everybody else said it. Has great odds and a bad count. Yep, 100%. That was my pick. That's exactly why I went with it, Robert. I think that's a great choice. Also, I did tell everybody we're doing an eliminator for this podcast. If you don't know what that is, basically you pick a team, you can't pick them again. If they lose, you're out. That's after the picks. So just a reminder to get your eliminator. Just kind of sad while we're talking. So we're doing Super Bowl predictions. We're gonna do reverse order. So Scully gets to tell his Super Bowl first. So basically, who's the 2 teams meeting and who's walking away with the trophy?
So the 2 teams I have meeting, I have MVP Burrow beating Mahomes again in the AFC Championship.
Without a late hit? Great.
Yeah, this time without a late hit. And then I have Mr. Irrelevant sort of being the kid who does that one slide towards the end of the group presentation, but it still contributes enough to get the A
The Tim
grade.
Tebow slant to go 80 yards to win the
Yeah.
thing.
No, he throws an 80-yard slant to Debo in overtime to win the NFC Championship against the Eagles. And so you have the last pick versus the first pick, and the first pick wins. I think Joe Burrow gets the Bengals their first title.
So you can rip out Nazario's heart for being in another Super Bowl and not winning it. That's great.
Well, I mean, look, it's a repeat of like 40 years ago when the Niners beat the crap out of Boomer Esiason's Bengals.
That's fair.
And this
alright.
this time Joe Burrow sees the ghost of John Candy in the stands and leads the game-winning drive.
They didn't beat the crap out of the Bengals. The Bengals were winning that game. Like they were
And
interviewing Boomer.
and then Joe Montana saw John Candy, and the rest is history.
Yeah. They were interviewing Boomer about Disneyland and shit when he was like seeing the comeback trend coming. But that's what it was.
Nazario, who is your Super Bowl predictions?
The Niners and the Eagles will make it to the NFC Championship again. And that is basic. That is basic math. And I'm not even like really betting on the 49ers to be last year's 49ers because people are banged up. We don't have all the guys. We don't know if we have a kicker. It's kind of a shit show, a little bit. We paid Bosa, so that's good. But in general, these teams. I mean, look at me. But the reality is, this team had a window open since 2019, and it's now 2023. The window is closing. So I think we are going to put all the eggs in the basket and going to make it. And yes, we're going to get there and we're going to play the Eagles because there's no one else in the NFC. And we will fucking beat the Eagles like it would have happened last year if we had a quarterback who had a working
Let's
arm.
not get too carried away now. Come on.
You still think you would have won?
Yes. I just wish the injury hadn't happened because if I had lost, I would have been in a lot of shit.
Instead of 31-7?
Yes. But on the other side of the ball, I'm thinking that the Chiefs are going to have kind of a slump. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be dominant. I think they're going to make the playoffs because, they're the Chiefs. But yeah, I'm seeing a second-round exit for the Chiefs this year. I think the AFC Finals is actually going to be the Bills and the Bengals. And I think the Bills are gonna get over Burrow. I'm sorry for Burrow because I do like the guy. He's the coolest guy ever on the football field. But I think it's the Bills' chance to win. And out of that one, I think Bills 49ers is just gonna be a slugfest. And I don't know. I'm gonna pick the 49ers because it's what my heart wants to pick. But I think it's gonna be. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be one of those Super Bowls that nobody rewatches.
Okay. So you think are you going with 49ers to win it?
Yes, over the Bills.
Okay. Mark, people are picking stuff that I have, so I'm like trying to change this so it's not like repetitive. So I'm interested to see where you go.
All right. Well, unfortunately, at least from the AFC side of it, I do think Nazari is probably right. Like we're probably gonna see a rematch. Hopefully, a better game than we got this last year. It's probably gonna be the Niners and the Eagles. Weirdly enough, whenever I put this in for the divisional round, I had the Eagles playing the Lions and the Niners playing the Giants, which seems fucking crazy to me. I don't know how I got there in this predictor thing, but
Interesting.
it's probably. I mean, listen,
We'll predict and drink at the same time.
Listen, yes. Like, the Niners got blown out in that game. Although, they were down to fucking Mr. Irrelevant, and it felt like they just needed a body to play quarterback. And at this point, if Brock, especially Brock Purdy's going to be in this offense whole season, he probably gets a little bit better, and that's probably just enough to get him over onto the NFC. And then, funny enough, like going through it, at least for the AFC Championship, had of course the Chiefs going in there, but I also got the Bengals. I got the Bengals going in there, and Patrick Mahomes sees that slick back hair, and he just doesn't know what the fuck to do. So the Cincinnati Bengals are going to go to their second Super Bowl days. I got the Bengals going up against the Niners, but Joey B is going to go upset 0-2 the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be the Niners. I think this is the Niners show. I'm going to go with Nazario.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, Nazario's not paying any of us to be. I'm just letting you know, so you didn't have to do that.
Sure.
So okay, we've had Buffalo, we've had Mahomes, we have this thing. I'm not going to sit here and pick Kansas City because that's just gross and boring. So,
Disgusting.
right. So, NFC. I have. Ooh, that sounds gross. I don't know if I like that idea. Okay. So I'm going to go with the obvious. I think the Eagles go back to the Super Bowl. I think they play.
I completely forgot I had this. Eagles. Okay.
Why does it look like a
logo?
logo?
So, couldn't get the real logo. Anyways, I have the Eagles, and I have them beating the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC
In the wild
Championship.
card round?
In the NFC Championship game.
What?
I have the Vikings going. I think the Vikings have a shot. Actually, that's not my pick at all. I just did that for Coach.
Yeah, no. That,
But I'm also not going to pick I'm not going to pick the 49ers. I'm going to pick something outlandish. I don't think this is fair, but it's going to be the Battle of the Birds. I'm going to have the Eagles take on the Seahawks in the thing.
Ooh.
I think the Seahawks get back. I think they have so many weapons.
Wow.
I think Geno is whatever it's going to be. I think that defense, their weapons are crazy at this point. I think they have a shot of going.
That's a sexy.
I still think the Eagles get past them. I think the Eagles go. And then on the opposite side of the ball, the Tigers will take on the Jets. And I have the Jets going to the Super Bowl to take on the Eagles, and I have the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, taking over the trophy. Again, I could have done Burrow. Maybe more people, but I am a huge Joe Burrow fan. I would love to see him hoist that trophy. I would love him to be way more in the conversation than Patrick Mahomes is. But you both pick Burrow. I'm not picking. I don't believe Josh Allen is there. I just don't think. I think that coach is. I honestly think the coach is stupid. If you want my honest opinion, I think the coach makes really dumb decisions all the time. And I think Josh Allen could honestly get injured this year with how careless he is with like running through people and just doing stupid shit. So I think Buffalo will be fine. I just think Aaron Rodgers with that core and that defense is enough to get them past the hump to possibly going. And again, most likely Cincinnati versus Eagles, and I would like Joey B. But my pick is Jets versus Eagles. Eagles win it. Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelsey retires at the end. Tears, streaming. Fun times.
Just so
That's
I'm not crazy, everyone else heard Cody say the Tigers, right?
Did I say the Tigers?
You said the
Yes,
Tigers.
you did. It's right.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm still in baseball mode. My brain hasn't turned off yet. I'm already sad over here. Eagles over Saints. Jaguars over Chiefs.
Look, here's the thing.
Saints are going to go to the playoffs. I mean, there's that.
Those are great divisional round matchups because
Does Casper really know football? What the fuck is he talking about?
I think, look, to be honest, I like the Saints a lot this year. I have them as my 3 seed in the playoffs. It's not the craziest prediction, but I think that's more of a divisional round matchup than.
But with the Saints in that division should have a stupid record.
The Saints
and I think
win
Carr
that division by at least 3 games.
with
At least
Olave,
3 games
and
is-
if Michael Thomas plays any games, they have a shot.
If he just runs slant routes and lets Olave run the deep routes, they'll be fine.
Okay. So we're going to go to bold prediction time. Does everybody have a bold prediction, or did I just bring this on to you too soon?
Nah, that's fine.
Okay. Who do I start with? I'm going to go Nazario first. Nazario, what's your hot take for the season?
My hot take is that around week 8 or 9, Dak Prescott is going to be out for the season, and Trey Lance is going to take the fucking Cowboys, play mediocre football, win just enough to make them go to the playoffs, and people won't shut the fuck up about the Niners giving away Trey Lance when he proves that he's a quality quarterback with the freaking Cowboys, taking them to the playoffs, to, like every year, losing the first round.
Okay. Mark, what is your hot take?
You know what? Just kind of sitting here, like racking my brain, thinking, maybe I was gonna say, oh, maybe this like possibly bad team is better. Although looking at this, and I realized, you know what? Here's a better one, because I don't like this team. I think they're kind of shitty. Everybody keeps talking them up. I don't know why, but I'm gonna say the Denver Broncos win fewer than 5 games.
Oh,
Like they are gonna
is
be
that a hot take?
Is it a hot take? I feel okay, fine. They win fewer than 3 games. I have them going 2-15. I think they're going to be fucking terrible this year.
I think the fact that they put Sean Payton in the hot seat, people immediately put them at 8-8, 8 and out over.
I feel like they have made just. I think there's an egregious error of kind of where Russell Wilson is exactly in his career. Where I think we still think Russell Wilson has gas in the tank. Where I feel like, if anything, like when Pete Carroll should just kind of proven this last year that, maybe Pete Carroll was right on this one. Maybe fucking Geno Smith work. Maybe Pete Carroll was the one who was making Russell Wilson look good all these years.
Everybody knows exactly where Russell Wilson is at this point in his career, and that is that Subway.
I will go next. My hot take. Pretty hot. The Pittsburgh Steelers challenge the Bengals for the division lead. I think they finished second in the division and could almost win the division. I think Kenny Pickett takes a step forward. I think him and who's that receiver that
George Pickens.
George Pickens, I think, could easily be in like top 5 discussion for wide receiver this year with that combination. I think another year in that offense with Mike Tomlin, they never have a losing record with him. So I think they go a step higher. I think the defense is improved. I think they are right up there I think the Bengals can still win the division, but I wouldn't be shocked if they're in the final weeks and the Steelers are right up there and Baltimore and Cleveland are down below. Win 11 games. Hey. That's my hot take.
I thought only Chance Ellison had that much faith in this team.
I mean, Kastner's a Steelers fan. It makes sense because he's from Pittsburgh and not Arizona. Because Chance is also a Yankees fan, which okay. Just if you have the most championships, and I think he's a Lakers fan. I think he's like all that stuff. I don't really know. No, he might be a Spurs fan.
He's a Spurs fan.
All right. Okay, and Scully, what's your hot take? Justin Fields throws for 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns.
I know what the people want me to say.
The people,
but that's just too obvious. So I'm going to go with something a tad crazier.
Okay.
The New England Patriots lose 11 games, and Bill Belichick is relieved of his head coaching and GM duties at the end of this season. The Bill Belichick era ends week 18 of this season. I think looking at where the division is, where the AFC East has completely passed them by, his way of building a football team is seen as archaic, and it is seen as out of touch with how modern football is played. If you look at Brady's last season in New England, they were damn lucky to make the playoffs. And that game against Tennessee should have been the sign that once Brady leaves that building, it's all downhill from there.
So now, think the question is finally answered. It was Brady, not Belichick. You think it's finally answered?
I still think that, especially in the early years, it was Belichick who helped build the foundation for Brady to become who he was. But definitely in the 2010s and beyond, it was the Brady show through and through. So I think it's a little more complex than that. But I think that with where the AFC East is, I think all three of their division opponents win 10+ games. I think they potentially go 1-5, maybe 0-6 in that division. And I think Robert Kraft has to make the tough decision and just revamp that roster. I like Mac Jones. I think he's a solid quarterback. However, he has not been given the proper
That
coaching.
offensive coordinator last
He
year
has
was
not been
an
given the
absolute
proper
joke.
development. He has been hosed from day one. They went with Bailey Zappi for a few games for some odd reason. I don't know why.
They didn't trust him to pass. They didn't trust him to pass over 5 yards. It was
No,
ridiculous.
I mean, if you look at the snow game in 2021 against Buffalo, where they won like 13-10, he threw like 2 passes, and he ran more than he passed.
The wind was like at what 35 miles per hour or something flying
They
sideways.
had Josh Allen. They had Josh Allen throw in that game. Now I get that the two are comparable in terms of their arms, but still, I think that with the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills being as good as they are this season, I think this is ring the bell time for.
I have a question for you, Scully. Open the multiverse window. Mac Jones gets to the 49ers instead of Trey Lance. Would he have a ring by now?
I think if Mac Jones is quarterback instead of Trey Lance, I think the Niners win Super Bowl 57.
Yeah, I think 100%.
If John Lynch had trusted Kyle Shanahan, they would have a ring by now.
Robert, what is the reception record currently? Who holds it?
It's.
I think all those records. Who?
Wait, it's Cooper Kupp, right? Was it Cooper?
Is it Kupp or is it
I thought it was Thomas.
Oh, reception
Michael
record?
Thomas?
Yeah, it was Michael Thomas. Yeah, Michael Thomas. Yeah.
Wait,
but I don't know what the number is.
For touchdowns.
149.
Yeah.
So I still think all these records are a little weird because they're going to literally play one more game than these.
Yeah.
So it's a weird.
Oh shit! You want the asterisk?
No, I don't.
Roger Maris hater.
No, I don't.
If it's if we're talking about the single season touchdown record, I don't think. I don't think that with Detroit's new backfield, Goff is going to throw that much for that record to even be in jeopardy. Because I still think Detroit will share the load. They still have other receivers aside from Amon-Ra St. Brown, and there are secondaries in the NFC and in the AFC that are going to plan against that. So I like the bold and the hot take, but I think that they are too much of a balanced offense to be thinking about that seriously.
My hot take was if Tua gets a concussion this year, that they actually take him out of the game. But I figured Dolphins are still going to Dolphin. They'll let him stay in, even though he's stumbling all over the place.
I think if you're looking at the single season touchdown record,
I'm telling you, asterisk is the solution.
Well, that's my thing. There has to be like the record within 17 game season, because if like baseball, if a player if they raise the games and they're playing 10 more a season, like it just changes the playing field. Anyways,
but the thing about the record holding even on longer seasons still has that flavor, because technically the Patriots won more games than the Dolphins did in 72 in that 18-1 season. So they had more wins than the Dolphins, but everybody remembers the Dolphins as the undefeated team.
Well, yeah, because if you don't win the last game of the season,
because these dumbasses threw the Super Bowl.
Fair. Okay, so we are on to the picks. It's going to work like a snake draft.
The picks.
So the order, I don't remember. Does anybody have the order? Oh, let me find it. Great podcasting here. It's going to go me, Mark, Scully, Nazario. Then it's going to go back. There are 16 games. We've done it 3 per side because when bye weeks happen, we will not be able to have that many games. So there will be 4 games left off this slate. Once a game is picked, no one else can pick them. It is going to be my pick first. My first pick in this is going to be I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens beating the Texans. That will be my first lock. There was another one that I was eyeballing, but I trust the quarterback behind center a little bit more on one of these than that one. So I have to go with that as my first pick. Mark, what is your pick? And I'm hoping Nazario's keeping track of these, or do you need me to?
Ravens.
I don't know where you found these bootlegs. Like,
I
I
think,
love it,
I
though.
think, I think his kid drew those.
Yeah.
I really want to go one way of this, but
Do
one
it.
of these
Do it.
scares
We
the
don't.
hell out of me. So I'm just gonna go with what seems like a safer pick, just because one of these teams is gonna be really shitty, and I just talked up one of these other teams. So I'm gonna take the Jaguars beating the Colts this weekend.
That was probably a safer bet than mine, but that's fair. Okay.
Oh, they weren't around in the
Scully.
70s. That's right. You know the thing.
Jaguars.
There it is. First pick, I'm going to take the Vikings at home over the Buccaneers. Week one, Baker Mayfield makes my stomach more upset than week old chili. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
Wait,
All
where
right,
are they playing?
Nazari.
They're playing in Minnesota.
Oh no, who are the Vikings beating? I missed that.
The
I forgot.
Buccaneers.
Oh yeah,
Come on.
shit.
No.
Okay.
Nazari, you're going to get back-to-back picks here, so who you got?
Let me see if nobody has taken anything I picked. No. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Scully's favorite. I'm gonna go with the Bears over the Packers because I have no faith in Jordan Love. That guy has been on the NFL longer than Trey Lance, and we know less about him. So, yeah, I think this is finally when they take on their revenge on the Cheeseheads, and I'm actually gonna say it's gonna be 21-14 because why not?
It's gonna be more high scoring than that, but I like the confidence.
Okay, and wait, I do the whole thing. So where's my Bears? Do I have the Bears? I don't remember. Shit, I don't have the Bears. Weird. Let me see.
They're terrible anyways. It's fine.
Just find a picture of a bear online. It's good enough.
No, I know. I think I had the whole thing, and for some reason, some of them didn't load. See, I had it. It's loading now. Bears.
It's not bad actually.
And
It's better than all the other ones you've
You
done.
have to banter a little bit to the logo. It's just loads of.
for the
Great
second pick,
podcasting. Go ahead.
second pick, I'm gonna take a shitty team over. I'm gonna say a pretty decent team because I don't think the Raiders are that shitty. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt to the Broncos. I'm gonna give a Broncos victory over the Raiders.
Is that one of your two wins, Mark?
Yep.
That's the one game in the afternoon slate absolutely no one is going to watch.
What's your
Everyone's gonna
score
watch
on
the
that
other
one?
three except for that one.
It's gonna be a shitty game, so I'm calling it 12-10.
Oh, shit.
But
This
I think
is safety.
I
Oh
think-
no,
I think-
somebody all kicks field goals.
I think Sean Payton is gonna be the difference here, and the Raiders are the Raiders. They're gonna Raider.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So many more picks are still available for me. That's crazy. Scully, what's your pick?
I'm gonna go with and this is a shout out to my boy Ty Sanders out there in Seattle right now. Huge Rams fan. He's probably gonna go to the game week one. He's gonna watch his team lose to Geno Smith. I got the Seahawks over the Rams at home. Yeah, that seems like a no brainer. Especially with Cup injured. Don't see how that game does not turn into a blowout.
All right, Mark, who you got?
Shit, brought that. Anyway, well, I forgot to give that score for the Jaguars. I'm gonna say it's like 27-6. I don't know, but they're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Seahawks win 34-17.
And what will probably be like an equally worse game to see, but it's still here, and I mean, the Cardinals maybe get one win out of this whole season. It's not going to be this week. I will gladly take the Commanders over the Cardinals here. Let's just say it's
That was my third pick. God damn it!
let's just say it's like 13-3. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be a shit game. It doesn't matter.
Okay. My Ravens also.
By the way, I had that
Right.
6-3.
Got it. My
So we're just going back to
also
1992 then. That's cool.
Lamar and the Ravens beat Houston and CJ Stroud, which is terrible. Going to beat them 35-14. And then Lamar always comes out in week one or whatever, blows the door off. And then I get back-to-back picks here.
Oh, and Vikings win 30-16.
Okay. Yikes! I don't like some of these games. Okay. I'm going to take the 49ers over the Steelers.
Interesting.
I didn't even
Trap
take
game.
that.
That's trap game.
Hey,
I agree. But I think they're going to win like 24-14. I think the defense is really strong. I think they'll hold against them. I'm okay, and that could be a loss. And then my next pick is going to be God. I'm not picking that game. Oh, some of these are rough. Okay. I'm going to take. I'm going to take Bengals over Browns.
Damn.
I think it's closer than because they've always given them fits, but I think it's going to be 28-21.
And then on the last drive, Deshaun Watson accidentally spots the Bengals trainer
Oh,
and
there it
throws
is.
in an interception.
What did you say the Viking score was going to be?
30-16, Minnesota.
Okay. Okay. Mark, what's your last pick?
This one may be a little scary just because it's a divisional matchup. Anything can happen, but
Yeah.
one of these teams is going to have they're going to go out week 1 rookie quarterback and the opposite team playing home.
Oh.
And I think they're going to be I think they're going to surprise people this year, kind of the way they surprised people last year. I'm going to pick the Atlanta Falcons over the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
Okay, that Falcons logo can't be real.
Say 17-3. Like it's not going to be.
I didn't get to see it. What is it? Show the logo again. Ooh, gosh.
Wow.
I wish I didn't see it. Like we did the 70s intro and you still did the 70s like pictures. I love it.
I found this set of logos and I loaded everything up until I realized that the Washington team was no longer the Redskins and it wasn't appropriate. So I changed.
Oh, fair. Mark, what's the score did you have for Falcons?
Let's say 17-3. It's probably another bad game.
Oh, Bryce Young doesn't do anything. I like it. Actually, I don't. Scully, what's your last pick?
This game is rather interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take the Chargers over the Dolphins.
Oh,
That's going to be my one risky pick. I feel like I got to go at least one risky pick.
Because I thought I have Miami. I think Miami wins that game.
I like Los Angeles in that game, 33-30 in overtime.
Oh, so that's the game of the freaking week.
That game
33-30.
33-30 in overtime.
Love it. Okay, and Azari, what's your last pick? Which I think the last ones you have to choose from are either Buffalo and the Jets, Cowboys and the Giants,
Eagles, Patriots too.
Eagles, Patriots, Lions, Chiefs, or is there one more?
Titans, Saints.
Titans, Saints.
Ugh.
What you got?
Give me a second. Oh yeah, Giants, Cowboys. I'm gonna pick the G-Man.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
you pick some risky plays. You have the Broncos, you have the Giants, and you have the Bears all in week 1.
It's just like the Raiders, man. The Cowboys are gonna be Cowboys, and I think the Giants are in a better position, mentally prepared for this game, and I think they wanna. They want to make it. Hey, Saquon got his extra $500,000, so the guy has to now.
Week 1 2016. Week 1 2016. They have a bad history on week 1s. Cowboys Giants.
They're at home, so they got.
I think
exactly.
I think it's gonna be a good game. For some reason, it's gonna end up.
I hope so.
It's gonna be 17-14.
That's not a good game. That's a boring as shit game. Thanks a lot. I was hoping like
Look, I mean,
42 to 35.
I'm the fan. I'm the fan of the team that likes defense. Stop picking such low-scoring finals.
Yeah, your total score is 21-14, 12-10, and 17-14. You're picking a boring brand. All right, so we're going to do reverse order for Eliminator. So Nazario gets first dibs on your Eliminator. Again, everybody can pick the same one if that's who you choose to have. You just can no longer pick this team any weeks moving forward. If everybody drops out, like week 5, if everybody's out, we'll restart and just do it again till the end of the
Okay.
season. But
Explain this again to me because I wasn't paying attention.
so you pick one team, and once you pick them, you can't pick them the rest of the season. So if you
From
pick
from the teams I picked?
no, from all the teams. So for example, if you think the Raiders are going to win this week, you pick the Raiders, and for week 2 through 17, you can't pick the Raiders again. Now, if you lose, you're eliminated from it, and you don't get to play until everybody else gets eliminated again. So, whoever you want, and if you need more time, then I can give it to somebody else. Why do you think?
Like, basically, I need to pick somebody that has to win, right?
Yeah. So the strategy is normally like picking a team that is like, "Ooh, I probably will never have to pick this team again. Like this might be their only win. I need to lock it in here." Or you want to go for the guarantee and hope somebody else loses. So.
Okay, so if that's the thing, I'm gonna pick the Commanders to win this week over Arizona.
Okay.
I had it in my list. Mark stole it. I'm gonna use it for this.
All right. Scully, who's yours?
Um,
And again, you can pick the Commanders if you'd like to.
Oh wait, bang!
I love it.
I'm gonna take the Vikings as my eliminator for this week.
Vikings. Okay.
I think Kirkako Muchacho is gonna have a good day.
All right, Mark, who's yours?
I was originally going to take, Scully actually took this one for me. I was going to take it before you. Hopefully, I thought I'd go in the second round, but just because of the Cup news and the Rams are just not going to be ready for this season at all. So I'll take the Seahawks, taking the Rams down week 1.
Okay. And I'm going to go with.
Do it, Cody. Do it.
Shut up. No, I don't even know who you think I'm gonna go with, but I'm gonna go with. I hate doing this. I'm gonna go with the Bears as my winner. I think the Bears beat the Packers.
Welcome to the club.
And if I'm gone, I'm gone. Again, I hope Scully has a miserable season. Like I pick them as my NFL Madden team all the time just to rebuild. But yeah, I think the Bears come out and beat if they don't beat them this time, then they might as well it's over. I think they take them down this time. So overall, that's the show. I had a lot of fun. I've wanted to do this. I've never brought it up before, like really doing a football show. We'll be back next Wednesday, hopefully. If we have to shoot a little earlier, do something, I think Wednesday will be a perfect time for most of us to try to hop on. We'll talk, do live stuff, go over our picks, go over week 1, see how wrong we were, how right we were, and pick more games.
True.
I hope everybody has a great. Tomorrow's it. We're here. People didn't like my TikTok I shared today that of Creed singing about opening season.
Cody, you posted a TikTok. That's something we never thought we'd see in our human lives.
I mean, I'm not ancient. TikToks exist. But listen, Creed singing about.
By the way, R.I.P. Smash Mouth. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, Frank Fleming. Frank the Tank had one of the worst tweets of all time. He passed away, and he said it'll still be 1 week till he says we're sorry, or he's sorry, and it wasn't even the right band. Oh, rough day, rough day for Frank the Tank. But hope the 49ers have a good season. Hope the Bears have a miserable season. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's